Hello, everybody. It's Susan Cook with Realtor Academy. Joining me today is Christina Smith with Caliber Home Loans and Karen Ekofo with Ekko Title and her curly hair. Yeah. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Format with, I think it's a little better for everybody to see us full face instead of just a piece of us, here.
Sure.
Yeah. We come to you every week, thereabouts, somewhat, to bring you industry updates. And I tell you what, there's been a lot of industry updates this week, hasn't there, ladies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, so much. So let me give you the information from our local association, from the Dallas Area Association of Realtors. I've got it up here, right here. There's a lot going on. The first thing that that DAAR would like for you to know is that they are voting on and looking for participants, seeking candidates to become part of the DAAR Board of Directors. Now, I have never been a part of the Board of Directors on any of the realtor associations that I've been in. But I have really enjoyed being a volunteer and doing these broadcasts as an ambassador. So any way that you can give back to our community, our realtor association, increases your leadership. And as I am a big advocate of becoming a leader. And number one, because if you're not a good leader of your business, then you're not going to have a very good business. So you need to increase your leadership skills, and the best way to do that is to get involved with your association. So soapbox time over. Consider it. You've got to apply by 8/8. But if you don't want to be on the board of directors, consider becoming a volunteer. They have several very good committees. The ambassador committee is a good one. And also their charitable, something that's really near and dear to my heart, is which charities are the association going to be involved with. They have a very extensive board committee about that. So that would be something very easy for you to get involved with and get involved with your community. Topic number 2, new Central Card renewal period. If you renew your Central Card instead of using the app on your phone, which I kind of like, you don't have to renew it. So I don't understand why you would use the old plastic one anyway, but that's my opinion. If you still use that plastic one, you only have to do it once a week now instead of every day. And that was effective Monday, July the 29th. Loudoun County approves expanding Route 15 north of Leesburg, which they need to because of all of the big boys coming around, Microsoft and Google, everybody building all these data centers and people living, in the south part of Loudoun County and not having a good access up into we might start calling it data center alley, I guess. Well, they already call it that, don't they, ladies? They already call it.
Yeah.
So the 4-lane road will run from the Leesburg bypass to the north side of Luckett's. Improvements to Route 15 also include a bypass around Luckett's and shoulders further north toward Maryland. The supervisors were presented with a Route 15 safety and operations study that includes 2 options, one focused on safety improvements and one that included both safety and capacity improvements, which is definitely sorely needed. DAAR Realtor Recharge, Empower Your Future on Thursday, September 26th. The DAAR Realtor Recharge Conference and Expo will bring together more than 200 real estate professionals, affiliates, and expert speakers at one exciting event. So consider going to this. It's always a great day to see some of the some of the new things that's going on, some of your favorite vendors and partners. Are you guys going to go to that?
So I will be there, and I will just say, I think because we participate, Ekko participates in all of the conferences. And this year, what they did, all the associations did, is they got together to try to spread out the conferences. So in the past, they were usually held like one conference was one week, another conference was the next week, so they're really trying to spread that out. And so DAAR, that's why it actually moved up, maybe, and then sometimes
I think that I'm not sure. I haven't followed NVAR other than minimally, but that's been the biggest one that I know of. So it's really great that DAAR is stepping up and providing, even though we're a smaller board, they're providing some big agent stuff for us, and this is great. So once again, get involved with your association. Consider moving if you're a Loudoun agent and you're not part of DAAR. Why aren't you?
You should be.
It's nice. It's smaller, so it's more intimate, right?
I think so. I've been a member of all three of the biggies around here, NVAR and GCAR. I used to belong to both when I was a principal broker for brokerages in my career. And I like the fact that Christine Wendell, who is the CEO of DAAR, and the staff by name, and they know you. You don't have to, and they want to grow.
That is nice.
And so, they want to grow. And there certainly is a lot of business. Loudoun County is one of the fastest growing counties in the country because all of these companies are coming here and making us Silicon Valley East.
Yes, indeed.
That's all I have for today, ladies. Who wants to go next?
I'm going to go.
Yeah, Christina, you go.
Okay. We'll trade off every week.
Well, you got a lot to share, don't you?
So something big did happen this week, and I just wanted to touch on a little bit so that people kind of understand what it means for your rates. So there was a federal rate cut. So when the Fed cuts rates, it's the cost of money to the bank, not to the general public. So in other words, it's the cost that a bank pays to borrow that money. So it's tied to the short-term cost. So it's going to be like your credit cards or a home equity line of credit. Mortgage-backed securities, like your mortgage loan, are tied to the long-term cost of money. So the reason rates were so good is because the mortgage market was already correcting itself in anticipation of this federal rate cut. So rates are great today. They're awesome. And we predict that they're going to stay that way, hopefully. But like one of my colleagues said, and she said it best, the market is very emotional. So rates do tend to go up and down, and we don't really have a lot of control over when that's going to happen. But for right now, they're predicted to remain pretty good. So that's kind of my little quick synopsis on what the federal rate cut means for people who are trying to obtain or have a loan locked right now.
And also refinances too.
Yes.
Why do you think that, because we do have a very robust market, why do you think that they did lower the cost of money and borrowing money?
That's a very good question. And to be honest, this was not something that, in my knowledge, was expected. Rates were actually anticipated to be higher right now. And so, the market's volatile. We don't know what's going to happen. But it's definitely a big blessing right now.
It is. And I know all of you mortgage professionals are all, dusting off those databases, I hope, and calling all your realtor partners and your past clients. And, it's a great way. And for all of you realtor partners out there, or realtors, period, you also have a great opportunity to dust off that database and call your past clients, your sphere of influence, whether they've done a deal with you or not, and just ask them, listen, can I help you and hook you up with a great lender partner, friend of mine? Now is the time for you to look at that rate and see if it might be time to refinance or do a home improvement that you've always wanted to do because the cost of money is low, So, so it's exciting, but it's a little confusing, but it is an opportunity for us to get out there, because another thing too that I came to mind in a coaching call that I had just recently was the fact that a lot of people can afford to buy more house now.
Yes, they can.
Because it's been such a dramatic decrease. So, call that database and see, and really just double down on those sphere of influence.
I think also for sellers, because I think we were talking about this earlier. Sellers, I think, for the long time were reluctant to sell when the rates were going up, because when they bought, their rates were good. And so the concern is, well, if I sell my house, I'm going to get a higher mortgage rate. My ability, like you said, Susan, a house that I could afford with that rate is not as much as what I've got right now, maybe. I don't know. But now hopefully it'll be a motivation for sellers to say, okay, now, I'll sell. Thereby creating more inventory, which we need.
More inventory.
Brand new house in Brambleton that I've always thought about having,
Exactly.
Downsized to a condo. There's a lot of baby boomers out there who may be in a big house, and all of a sudden they would like to be in a condo that has an elevator. I mean, I know I would. Ugh.
It's nice.
I know I would. What about you, Karen? Let's hear from you. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, so I think post-occupancy still seem to be issues that pop up with those types of scenarios. So post-occupancy, just kind of real brief, is where your seller is, they've sold the house, but they're staying in beyond the settlement dates, right? So we call that post-occupancy. So the issue that seems to be recurring is the inspection that's done on the day of settlement and then when they leave. So the agreement that they sign, the post-occupancy agreement that they sign, says that the seller has to return the house in substantially the same condition as it was on the date of settlement, right? So that date is key, because that's the date you're gonna be using to compare when they leave. So highly, highly, highly encourage you as realtors to have that walkthrough on the day of settlement. And if there are items that are blocking your view, write up some documentation. It doesn't take long. It's fairly simple, but it will.
Cell phone and take a picture.
Yeah, take a picture, take a video.
Document.
That's super helpful, because when they move out and suddenly there's a stain that you didn't see there before, that you couldn't see, access to a particular area because there are boxes blocking, which is, happens. How are you going to make sure that, your buyer can say, seller, that security deposit part, that needs to be divvied up here to address those issues? How are you going to make sure to protect that? So, I think taking video at home inspection, and then at the final, at the walkthrough on the date of settlement, and then, at the end of settlement, and having some sort of documentation, say, okay, we saw this, this was fine, but we couldn't see here. So if there's any issues, when you move out, you agree to address those.
Yeah, I have heard so many horror stories about post-occupancy, and I'm not going to relate any of them now. I see the need, but I feel like, and I may be stepping on some toes here real quick, but I feel like that sometimes that we counsel our buyers